what is the matter with Kansas? Or those people inside the Beltway that don't know what's happening with the real people out in the heartland? You mean the flyover country, right? No, the Midwest where we don't have accents, don't you know? I remember that time I drove with my dad as I was starting seminary. We were coming from Wisconsin on the tollway, and I was waiting for that moment once we got past Pittsburgh, when I'd see those black horse-drawn buggies of the Amish. I thought there would be full of them across that Pennsylvania landscape. No. Think of those images that we hold, the assumptions and judgments about people from different parts of the country. That person from Appalachia or Manhattan, the Deep South, Texas, Minnesota, Wyoming. Now, many of those assumptions or concepts of these people based on their location or how they were raised, some of them we can be dead on about. Other times our assumptions are proven false. How about with other things? How do we imagine the poor? What color are they? Do they have jobs? Family? Marriage status? What's their education? Are they undocumented? Are they immigrants? Were they born right here in the U.S.? Our own stories of assumptions and judgments carry so much weight in our reactions to the situation, and we find it right here in Nathanael's words, when Philip tells him about Jesus. Can anything good come out of Nazareth? Can anything good come out of that backwater town? It's out in the sticks with a bunch of simple-minded, ignorant people. The guy you want me to come see, that's the guy you're telling me about? Can anything good come from that town? Philip replies, "Come and see." And quickly, Nathanael learns that not only a good thing can come out of Nazareth, but the greatest thing of all. In all of his discerning or lazy sleeping, enjoying that day under the fig tree, he did not understand that God was already in his midst. And not only that, but that he knew him. This king of Israel did become flesh in the most humble of settings, out in the sticks, among the hay, so he was partially right. But his assumptions were wrong about the good that could emerge from that place. There's a great TED Talk from a novelist, Chimamanda Adichie, and I'm going to post it on Facebook because the whole thing is really awesome. But she gives a talk about the danger of a single story. Her background is she's from Nigeria, and she speaks about her upbringing, her writing, about how people would even tell her that her story was not authentically African. Because it was in the minds of others who judged what that would look like. She mentions that the single story creates stereotypes, but that the thing about stereotypes that are hurtful is not that they are untrue, but that they are incomplete. That one story, they can make that one story the only story. As Christians today, we face a single story that challenges us in our relevancy. Can anything good come out of the church? It's a question that continues to come to the forefront, finding voice in our time. A single story that attempts to set the tone for decline, but it's incomplete. Where is the rest of the stories? Come and see. This week we recognize the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, a pastor, civil rights leader. In all his strengths and weaknesses, he amplified the voices of so many faithful servants. The movie Selma is out right now, highlighting this march from Selma to Montgomery. And right in the trailer, if you see it, there's a question that practically echoes Nathanael if you march those people into rural Alabama, it's going to be open season. Can anything good come out of a protest like this? Come and see, said the organizers. And the world was exposed to the brutal oppression and injustice, hatred and fear that was living in this land of the free. And thanks to so many courageous people offering their bodies to be abused and torn. They are living examples and witnesses on an extreme level to what we hear in the Corinthians text. As Paul urges the people of Corinth to come and see, experience a faith that calls not only parts of us, but our whole being, our body and soul together to lead lives that build up community and respect others. It is with our whole selves that we invite others to come and see the God who dwells among us. In a memoir by Douglas John Hall, he writes about his discoveries of his reflections on this undeservedly meaningful existence, as he puts it. And he owes it to one source, the sheer grace of God that is meditated through the lives of others that he's encountered. What does our journey of faith look like as we look back? Have we been alone on this path? Or can we see God's grace being revealed to us and calling us through the lives of others? Not even public or historic figures, but ordinary folks in our lives. The Sunday school teachers, parents, neighbors, maybe students, teachers, people at various stages of our life or at the workplace. God's grace being revealed by these people simply being who they were and doing what they do, many times not knowing that they were sharing these gifts of insight, affirmation in our joys, or support in those times of grief or pain. Every one of us plays that role of giver, whether we know that or not, in relation to everyone we meet. And if we know this about ourselves, and we may be inspired to pay a good deal more attention than otherwise to the way we are with one another, the things we say to one another, the deeds we do. Our passages today are about being such people, servants who give of themselves even they may not have heard from God yet. A community who is challenged to see a new way of life together. And in today's gospel, living as these mediators who invite others to Jesus. Come and see. That's what it means to follow Jesus. To prepare a welcome mat for others, to extend a hand to a neighbor so that they may encounter the one who sees them where they are at in their lives. Come and see. Following Jesus is about sharing our story of faith, so that we're not defined by one single experience, but rather we create a space that allows for others to hear and see and experience God who came before us, lives among us, and guides us forward. Anytime we come here to gather in this place, whether it's in worship or study, whether we're calling bingo numbers over in Rockville or knitting a blanket or lifting our voices in choir, whenever we give our time at Shepherd's table, or even just line up the crock pots in Fellowship Hall, we're creating space as a community so we and others may be opened again and again to God's call in the world. So what good can come from this place? Come and see. Come and see. Amen.